welcome back to another big video. Today I'm gonna showcasing all the fantastic boss and how to kill them. Before starting video, I just wanna say that there are more than 90% of people watching my video and didn't subscribe. So please considering to subscribe. It helps me a lot. Thank you. Oh, and I will split this into two videos because there are a total of 32 bosses until now. Okay, and no further ado, let's jump right into the video. Okay, the first boss we got Sand Giant. The Sand Giant is boss of the Desert Temple. It resembles a large sand spear and can be fought after completing every other room. Sand Giant will first chase the player who attracted it, and then it will chase whoever had done the most damage, if it had not been counted. The Sand Giant will try to get close to the player, but it is easy to outrun. If the player are too far away, the Sand Giant will not use either attack, and will only walk toward a player until it gets close enough to continue using attack again. The Sand Giant constantly alternate between two attacks. Fine line. Fine line creates three lines parallel to the direction of the Sand Giant, but facing when creating the warning line. The lines are spaced far enough for the player to fit between them. Smash. The Sand Giant will then attempt to smash one arm down in an attempt to hit a player. This attack does not require anybody to be close to it in order to activate. This boss has a base health of 275 in easy, and 600 in medium, and 3,450 on hard, 8,000 in sand, and 28,000 in nightmare, and deal damage up to 150 damage and give up to 230 XP. Fight. Okay, enjoy the boss fight.
Till I get up, time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways.
Okay, next one we got Ice Elemental. The Ice Elemental is a large figure made of ice that can be fought after completing the 7th room. There are 3 attacks at its disposal. Ice Bite. As soon as the door opens to the final room, Ice Elemental summon multiple small rings that appear randomly throughout the room. These can appear attached to or apart from one another, and usually spawn within the inner circle of ice. Ice Beam. After this, multiple small beams will quickly shoot outward from below the boss. Once the beam appears, they will quickly inflict damage to any player standing within them. This attack appears in the same location every time, and keeping a safe distance from the boss during the attack will help to prevent getting hit by multiple beams at once. Summoning Ice Minion. On every other attack rotation, the Ice Elemental will summon 3 Ice Minions on its left side, which are a stronger variant of the Frost Minion from the previous room. Ice Minions have exactly 1/8 of the XP that the Ice Elemental had. Each time an Ice Minion hits a player, they deal around as much as the other 2 attacks. It is recommended to take them out as quickly as possible, as there is no known limit to how many can spawn at once, meaning they can become an even larger problem than the boss itself. This boss has a base health of 43k on easy, 100k on medium, 240k on hard, and 420 on insane, and 750k on nightmare, and deal damage up to 360 damage, and give up to 4000 XP. For now, we got 3 bosses per dungeon. Okay, the first boss of the Pirate Island is Captain Blackbeard. Captain Blackbeard is the first mini-boss the player will encounter on Pirate Island, located in the second room. Blackbeard is equipped with a larger version of the Rifleman cannon. His base health is 1.3 million on insane and 2.8 million on nightmare. Each attack does 2k damage on insane and 5k damage on nightmare. These attacks will quickly repeat until he is defeated. Rifle shot. Blackbeard will start by aiming his rifle at a random player just before firing. A red rectangle will extend from him all the way to the end of the arena. When he fires the shot, player within the rectangle will be damaged. Cannon Bombardment. Cannon Bombardment fire multiple cannonballs onto the field. Red AoE, the circle will appear randomly to explode after 2 seconds. Anybody inside the circle will be damaged. Okay, next one we got Spider Queen. Spider Queen is the second mini boss the player encounter on Pirate Island. She resides in a small cave after the 4th room. She is a huge spider sporting a mini pirate hat. Her base health is 1.2 million on insane and 2.7 million on nightmare. Each class does around 1.5k damage on insane and around 4k damage on nightmare. Drink Blast. A main attack is Drink Blast. Before she attacks, player will have 3 seconds of warning as a blast zone indicated on red. She will then persist to fire 6 blasts in a span of 3 seconds throughout the room. After this attack, there's a 6-second cooldown before she can attack again, so it lasts longer whenever she spawns infected spirit. Summoning infected spirit. After every other Drink Blast attack, she will spawn a pair of infected spirit. that do as much damage as one take up her drink glass attack per hit. These enemies will sometimes attack each other if they cannot detect another player, attacking them as well as they spawn in. Demonic Pirate Captain. Demonic Pirate Captain is the main boss of the Pirate Island, posting around 1.7 million health on Insane and 3.5 million health on Nightmare. He is located after the 8th room on the center of the deck of the large galleon. And he has 4 skills. The first one is Dark Lightning Tendril. When the battle first starts, he will summon Dark Lightning Tendril from a glowing white ball. Distract the player movement to avoid these. The player has to constantly run. The captain will cast the tendril 6 times before continuing to his next move. The tendril will target every player regardless of the distance from the ship, so keeping a good distance from mother and not crossing paths during this attack is highly advised. Bend attack. For his next move, the Demonic Pirate Captain will spin around in a medium melee AoE, hurting anyone who is within his range. Memorizing the reach of the attack will prevent unnecessary damage. Player Teleport. The last attack occurs quickly after, with the Demonic Pirate Captain vanishing and then reappearing right above a player and attacking them with a close range skill similar to Demonic Strike. Moving straight between when he disappears and after he reappears will have to keep from getting hit. He can teleport to any player that is anywhere on the map. The attack pattern will then repeat back to Dark Lightning Tendril and he will teleport back to the original position in the middle of the ship. Lifesteal. All of the Demonic Pirate Captain attack have the ability to lifesteal. That is, he is able to heal himself whenever he deals damage to players. This makes it imperative to complete the fight while taking as little damage as possible. Beastmaster. Beastmaster is the first mini-boss the player will encounter in King Castle, located in the 3rd room. They are equipped with a Goblin Cleaver with a Beastly Guardian set. The encounter will begin after a player walks far enough into the 10th corridor, or if a player dies at any point before reaching him. His attack typically hit wide area while within a narrow hallway, so maneuverability is the key. His base health is 10 million on Insane and 30 million on Nightmare. Each attack does around 8k on Insane and around 14k on Nightmare. Beastmaster cycle through 2 attack. Checker pattern. The Beastmaster starts off by covering the side of the line that deal a total of 4 ticks of damage. A checkered pattern will make its way down the center of the corridor, which is speed dissipating after half a second and dealing damage to any player within them. The cycle will then open up after 2 seconds. The side will then open up. After 2 seconds, the center will become covered in a solid light that deals 4 tick damage. The checker pattern will make its way along the side of the corridor with the tighter space and other wrap that making it a bit harder to dodge than the previous set. Spin attack. Beastmaster's second attack is close range melee attack that will deal damage to anybody that is standing too close to him. When the circle appears, he will begin to rotate before spinning around and swinging his weapon. After this attack concludes, the attack will repeat again until he is defeated. Beastmaster strategy. The best strategy to have when fighting this boss is to watch the checkered piece as they go down the corridor and adjust accordingly to where they will appear. As the checkered piece hit quickly, when he starts his spin attack, keeping up distance to avoid being hit and make sure to stay off the side. As the attack pattern will repeat and the side will burn as they did at the start.
Turning truth to lies, gotta get up, stop wasting time. Yeah, I wanna run off and fly. And I'll tell myself it's fine to be alone, just to find somewhere that finally feels like home. I hate all this overthinking.
Arch-Mage is the second mini-boss the player will encounter on King Castle. Located in the 5th room, they are equipped with a modified Colossal Fire Staff and an Arch-Mage set with a hood instead of a crown. The encounter will begin after a player walks into the room or if a player dies at any point before reaching them. His base health, just like Beastmaster, is 10 million on Insane and 30 million on Nightmare. Each attack does around 7k on Insane and around 11k on Nightmare. Arch-Mage cycle through 2 attacks, with a third attack occurring randomly throughout the fight. Arcane Beam. The Arch-Mage will typically start out by using this attack. This attack will shoot a large magic line at the closest player, regardless of the amount of damage or turning they have done. Arcane Grid. On every other Arcane Beam, a grid of small lines will fire from outside and across the entire room. There's typically a rectangle or square in between the line to dodge the attack. Book Bomb. During the attack, multiple AoE circles with books hovering above them will randomly spawn throughout the room. These books take a long time to explode when compared to the arcane attack. This is how to defeat Arch-Mage. Arch-Mage strategy. Make sure to keep moving to avoid the book bomb and the arcane beam. Standing on the wall behind Arch-Mage will help to keep from getting staggered by the arcane grid. If playing in a party with a designated healer or tank, have them stand the closest to Arch-Mage, as he will only aim to arcane beam at the closest player. The book bomb takes a while to explode, making them not as large of a priority as the arcane attack. When arcane grid and arcane beam are in the room at the same time, the grid will always deal damage first, typically around half a second before the arcane beam does, making the grid the highest priority to avoid in this instance. The King. The King is the main boss of the King Castle, located in the 8th room. He wields 2 fiery swords and a modified Guardian set, with red detail. The encounter will begin after a player walks past the second line of the floor from the stair, or automatically if the player dies at any point before reaching them. When encountered, the previous room will become covered in lava, dealing damage over time to anybody not in the final room. His base health is 14 million on Insane and 14 million on Nightmare. Each attack does a average of 9k on Insane and 21k on Nightmare. The King cycles through 2 attacks. Lava Blast. The King starts out by raising his sword into the air, marking the arena in which a long-range blast of lava will hit. When he swings his sword back down, anybody within the market area will take damage. The King aims his attack at a random player and he does this a total of 3 times each rotation. This attack would later become a spell known as Lava Blast. Jump. After the set of Lava Blast, the King will then locate a random player within the room. He will then mark their position with a very large AoE circle that does damage to anybody within it after 3 seconds, which is when he lands inside it. After landing, the attack cycle will repeat. On every other attack rotation, the dense fog will cover the room before he uses this attack. Okay, this is the King strategy. On both repeating attacks, it is imperative that a fair distance is kept from other players at both attacks. Choose a random target and cover the decent range. When the King uses Lava Blast, the best way to avoid it is to move perpendicular or directly to the left or right of the attack. If at the very edge of the range, moving away from the King will work as well. When the King is preparing to use his jump attack, make sure to keep moving completely straight, as there is very little room for error when targeted. Oh, and there is also the King glitch, but I'm not gonna show it because I hate the glitch. Demonic Overgrowth. Demonic Overgrowth is the first mini-boss that the player will encounter in the Underworld, located in the 4th room. This boss had the appearance of a large mole protruding from the floor. The encounter begins when a player crosses the second line of the floor. Their base health is 18 million on Insane and 300 million on Nightmare. Each attack does around 15k on Insane and around 27k on Nightmare. Demonic Overgrowth cycles through 3 attacks. Demonic Ground Swipe. The Overgrowth starts out by targeting a random player with a long-range swipe attack. The coverage of this swipe is wide and activates quickly after targeting a player. They will aim 3 sets of ground swipe before continuing on to the next attack. Spike Throw. Next, the Overgrowth will summon a wide set of alternating spike rolls that fire across the room. The rolls are as wide as the area between each swipe. This attack fires at the same speed as the previous targeting attack. A group of enraged blood minions summoned by the Overgrowth. Summoning blood minion. When the attack cycle repeats, the Overgrowth will summon a blood minion. Minions spawned by the Overgrowth deal 4k damage on Insane and 6k damage on Nightmare. And it is possible for them to deal 2 hits at the same time. If there are 3 blood minions present before Overgrowth is defeated, the minion will become enraged. If the Overgrowth tries to summon another, when enraged, blood minions deal twice as much damage and they become very fast. And this is the strategy to defeat them. The demonic ground swipe attack functions very similarly to the King Avalanche attack. Moving perpendicular to each line and keeping a fair distance from other players is the best way to dodge his attack. On the spike roll attack, there's a gap between each roll large enough to easily reach when moving toward the side of the room. When blood minions spawn, it is highly advised to take them out to keep them from growing in rage. Their health is much lower than normal mobs, making this is a lot easier to do early on. Kolvuma. Kolvuma is the second mini-boss the player will encounter in the Underworld, located in the 8th room. They have the appearance of the large moose with a pair of human hands extended out of its face. The encounter begins when a player comes within its range with around a quarter of the way through the room. The base health is 18 million on Insane and 200 million on Nightmare. Each attack does around 21k on Insane and around 31k on Nightmare. Kolvuma cycles through 2 attacks. Fire cycle. When Kolvuma is encountered, a random player is targeted with a large circle of fire, which starts to cause damage after 2 seconds, and continue to deal 1 tick of AoE damage every second until it is defeated. Order attack fade. For every attack cycle after the first, Kolvuma will target 2 fire cycles each time. As the fight continues, the time between each circle summoning gradually increases until they eventually appear at the same time. Charge. After using this fire circle, Kolvuma then proceeds to run toward a random player, leaving a rate of fire that deals 1 tick of AoE damage every second until it is defeated or the attack fades. As the fight continues, Kolvuma will grant you a charge faster. Kolvuma strategy. When fighting Kolvuma in a group, it is important to stay near the rest of the team. Spreading out will cause attack to stretch across the entire room, making it very easy for Kolvuma to trap there. For the most efficient way to dodge fire circle and keep the room from becoming inundated in them is to walk just outside of the radius, so then it will not cover as much space. When Kolvuma charge, it will go to the position of the player he chose was standing, meaning that the targeted player does not have to move very far to dodge the attack. Demon Lord Arzalik. Demon Lord Arzalik is the main boss of the Underworld. He is very large and stands within the void at the end of the room. The encounter begins after a player walks past the second row of the light pixel at the edge of the platform. His base health is 110 million on Insane and 225 on his base health is 110 million on Insane and 225 million on Nightmare. Each attack does around 22k damage on Insane and around 34k on Nightmare. Arzalik will cycle through 3 attacks, which a fourth activates when he reaches half of his health. The first one is Demonic Line. Arzalik first attack sends an alternating row of line away from him and toward the opposite end of the room, similar to that of the Demonic Overgrowth. When a line appears, it flashes and deals damage after 1 second. Sunbeam Smash. Arzalik then smashes his left hand onto the ground, which caused a sunbeam of line to shoot out from where he hit. This line deals damage quickly after striking the ground. Global Summoning. Arzalik's third attack summons a small AoE circle below every alive player. Regardless of where they are, this attack pulses twice, with the second pulse doubling the circle diameter. Each pulse takes 1 second. After he only has 50% of his health, he will spawn a heart. That heart is called Arzalik Heart. Arzalik Heart has 60% of his max health. Heart Attack. When Arzalik reaches half health and is not instantly defeated, his attack cycle stops and he ceases up, becoming immune to damage. He then proceeds to throw his heart onto the ground and fall backward into the void below. The heart has 60% of his total health. When his heart hits the ground, a blood minion will spawn. Minions spawned by the heart deal 5k damage on Insane and 8k damage on Nightmare. Blood minion will continue to spawn every 2 seconds until there are 5 blood minions present or until the heart has been defeated. Once 5 minions are present, no more are able to spawn, and a minion will become enraged when the heart tries to summon another. When enraged, blood minions deal twice as much damage and become very fast. After the heart is defeated, Arzalik will reappear from the void and return it to its body. This attack cannot be used again. and the cycle will repeat from the first attack until it's fully defeated. Okay, this is the strategy for Demonic Arzalik. Demonic line can be avoided by continuing forward and moving backward, depending on the player position related to the line. Arzalik will always use Sunbeam Smash at the same position with his left fist, meaning that his right side is the most effective for avoiding the attack. Keeping a fair distance from other player will help to avoid getting stacked by his global summoning attack. At the sheer side of the AoE double after the first pulse during the hard phase. Taking out the blood minion quickly will keep them from becoming enraged. Raging minion will only spawn within the heart. Attacking it normally will work to damage them as well. Okay, for now the Wikipedia don't give me the name of the attack or how attack works, so it only shows us how the boss attacks, so I'm gonna do that. Okay, the first boss of Samurai Palace is Sanada Yukimura. This boss has a base health of 480 million HP on Insane and 1 billion HP on Nightmare. Okay, after the attack, Sanada Yukimura throw 3 green shuriken at the same time at different places. Then summon an elite samurai swordman which have a circle AoE spin attack. He then threw 3 green shuriken again twice, and the cycle repeats. While this happens, 4 green stars appear in the middle of the battlefield every so often, creating lines in the formation of crosses. It's recommended to be along the side of the arena to have a better chance at dodging these lines. Oh, and the Wikipedia don't show the strategy to fight this too, so you can watch me fight and figure it out yourself. Sorry. Okay, next part of Samurai Palace is Ancient Golem Guardian. Ancient Golem Guardian has base health of 500 million HP on Insane and 1.1 billion HP on Nightmare. The ancient Golem Guardian causes rock to fall onto the random player position, as well as causing rock to fall around the internal AoE shortly after. Before using the same attack a second time, it is recommended for player to wait up during the attack. And after the initial fall, player can go to where the rock fell to avoid taking damage from the preceding rock. If definitely going to be damaged by the internal fall, they should simply let themselves get hit and not be hit by the falling surrounding circle. The golem then drops a rock in front of itself dealing damage if it hits a player. Then slam its hand into the rock, creating multiple damaging line outward. The cycle repeats. It's recommended to be far away while he uses rock slam attack.
I've been all around the globe trying to protect your soul.
Okay, the final boss of Samurai Blades is Miyamoto Musashi. Miyamoto Musashi have a base health of 550 million HP on Insane and 1.2 billion on Nightmare. Miyamoto Musashi have 4 attacks. One where he fired 6 lasers in quick succession toward random player. Another where he creates numerous beams outward from him, similarly to Demon Lord's Arzalik hand slam attack. One where he summons an ultimate swordman which spins toward you and vanish after a duration of 3 seconds. And finally, one where he summons a shuriken that floats above him, create a large AoE blast multiple times in random location. The enemy summon has an indicator as to where they spawn, so by smoke spiraling. Keep as much distance between you and the smoke to avoid the enemy. For the outward damage line, try not to be too close to the laser origin is at the center of Miyamoto Musashi. Finally, for the constant laser attack, simply move left or right and be wary of where your teammates are. It should be noted that upon entering the arena, similarly to King Castle, most of the map is covered in lava, preventing players from backtracking.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side.
Okay, and now we're up to the final dungeon of this video. It's the Canal. The first dungeon of the Canal is Mage Overlord. Mage Overlord have a base health of 2 billion health on Insane and 5.7 billion on Nightmare. The Mage Overlord is the first mini-boss in the Canal, having 3 different attacks. The Mage Overlord's first attack is where it will send out a multiple small slow traveling orb over time, targeting player at random. Another of the 3 attacks is where the boss fire magic beam toward the closest player, then create multiple beams perpendicular to the first beam. The last one summon a spiral of magic, which then quickly create an unknown minion, which run toward the player, then explode for heavy damage upon touch, and disappear if no contact is made after 4 seconds. It appears to holding a elemental staff. Guardian Overlord. The Guardian Overlord is a second mini-boss in the Canal, having 3 different attacks. This boss has a base health of 2 billion health on Insane and 5.7 billion health on Nightmare. The first attack consists of the Guardian Overlord create 2 beams going through them, which then explode, and then another 2 beams at the 45-degree angle compared to the previous beam come and explode much quicker. The Guardian Overlord then spin around, sending out 4 slow red beams. When a beam is touched, it explodes with a huge AoE and medical damage. The Guardian Overlord can also create a red sword from the sky, which slowly descends onto the player. If the player is hit by the sword, all players receive huge damage. To stop the damage, the players targeted by the sword must go into a safe zone, randomly placed in the arena, which is blue and has ring rising from it, with a word safe. The boss appears to be holding a giant royal axe. Okay, the final boss of this video and the final boss of the canal is the Warrior Overlord. The Warrior Overlord is the final boss of the canal. It typically does 90 to 100k on Insane and does 125 to 150k on Nightmare, and he has a base health of 2.2 billion health on Insane and 6 billion health on Nightmare. He have 3 different attacks, one being passive. To have the fight passively, the beam will rapidly come from arc, constantly covering the arena in danger. Occasionally, the beam also have a chance to stack on one another, hitting multiple times. One Warrior Overlord attack made a tower to the left of him, cast down 3 medium radius circles on each player. Another attack at the boss charging up for a long time, 8 seconds, indicated by light purple ring spirals around them, which a blue force field spear appearing far to the left or right of him. An arrow constantly flow above the force field, and going in it gives you a long-lasting force field, which nullifies damage from the charge attack, which, when finishing charging, deal massive damage with infinite reach. It appears to have both the Overlord Rage Blade and the Overlord Mana Blade. Okay, that's all the first boss for this video. I will make the part 2 soon. This video took me 2 weeks. Sorry for that. But the part 2 will come sooner than the part 1. Okay, thank you guys for watching and see you in the next one. Bye.